Hi, I'm Don, and this is The Hobbyist Geek. Welcome back, y'all. Today we are continuing our Microworld journey with the mechanical Pterosaur. This looks awesome. So why don't we bring you in? We'll take a look at the packaging, see what comes inside. Alrighty, y'all. So here is the packaging for the Microworld Pterosaur. And look at that buddy. He looks awesome. He really does. I can see little joints along the neck here, and again along the ankle. Those will be fun if they haven't corrected the paint issue that we had with the Stegosaur. It still seems to have that red and blue aesthetic. What I can't tell from this is whether it's kind of a one on either side, or I mean, it kind of looks like it's just red and blue throughout, so it should be bilaterally symmetrical. That should be nice. I would like that better. That head looks incredible. This is a 7 difficulty, so 1 less than the Stegosaur. Should be a little easier to put together, I hope. 293 parts. 5 sheets of metal, so about the same size, give or take. Yeah, okay, look at this. So it's all uniform as far as the color is concerned. Great. Let's get this plastic off and see what we got. Okay, plastic is off. Let's take off the slip cover. Wow, okay, there it goes. Woo! Get this thing open. And we have our little sales guide. Oh, look at that scorpion looking thing. That looks pretty cool. Huh, lots of little busts. Very cool. All right, well, future projects, perhaps. And we have our instructions, which are nowhere near as thick as they were for the Stegosaur. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Probably just means a lot more repetition. But let's find out. All right. So we have a little comic book, some more models in this line. All right, our piece list and the regular instructions. It looks like we're looking at 28 pages. That's actually just about the same. It just feels thinner for some reason. Okay, cool. Once again, see, we've got situations like this where you've got a piece and then it just shows the folded outcome. It doesn't actually show you how to do it. Yeah, that's unfortunate, at least for beginners, but I think we'll be just fine. Okay. Once again, they have taped this thing in. Let's see here. All right. Good news is no damage to be seen really on these sheets like with the Stegosaur. No bends, no breaks that I can see off the top of my head, or I should say at first glance. This tape holding all of this together, though, is just annoying. Okay. Ooh, look at that mesh. That is spectacular. And if that is an indicator of how big the wing is going to be, this thing is going to be massive. All of these pieces look fairly decent sized. Here's where we get into some of the smaller ones. But not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, a couple more smaller ones in here. Here's our paint. You know, now I'm looking at this. I see red and I see black. I don't see any blue. No, there's no blue on here anywhere. Yet, that is very clearly blue. And we've got some, I'm guessing this will be silver. Maybe they got a blue light shining on it. There's some blue highlights down there too. And up here. But I'm not seeing any blue anywhere on this. Okay, so I guess this is just going to be black and red and silver. Well, that'll work too. All right, well, those are our 5 sheets. So this is actually significantly smaller. The last one had 5 full sheets like this, and then a smaller one about half the size of this. So with only 3 full sheets, and then I guess 3/4 of another. This is 3 3/4 sheets of metal. So this may actually be smaller than our stegosaur. Cool. Well, how about we get some parts out and we get started on this build? Alrighty, y'all. This is about the halfway point here, and wow, look at this piece. We have one whole wing done, and I mean, just look at these beautiful details. The claw here, look at all of these guns that are just basically popping out of it, and these cylinders, whatever those are. The head here is spectacular, but I'm not a big fan of the crest. And if you look at the back, you can see all the silver here, and on the back of the crest, that's unpainted as well. We do have all of these beautiful spine details coming on up, as well as this detail on the bottom of the neck. And look at all of these little pieces here as well. I don't really have much in the way of advice for building this, other than this piece of the crest. It's absolutely horrid instructions. Make sure when you're folding this little bit right here that it folds out like this. It looks like it's supposed to come around. It doesn't. It folds like that. And it is very difficult in some spaces, particularly along the beak, and then in some of these areas around here as well. It's not that it's complicated or hard to understand, it's just difficult to get in and actually get it done. Also, there's a little motion here, and that's in multiple places. That is not by design, it's just not as tight and sturdy as our Stego was. But there we go. All we've got left is the other wing and the lower body. But I think we're about halfway done at this point, and it's looking great. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like the video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.